Good evening and welcome to the Spotlight. I'm David Rose. Thank you for joining us as we head into the unofficial start to summer. And it comes with a warning. Be on alert as you get out to enjoy weekends with your friends and family. An attack can come out of nowhere. Just take a look at what happened on the light rail in Seattle. An innocent rider viciously assaulted in an unprovoked blitz attack. A complete stranger smashing her in the face with a Gatorade bottle. King County Sheriff's detectives are asking for the public's help to identify that woman. It was just before 3:30 p.m. on Sunday, April 21st. The suspect's just standing there, a little unsteady, as the light rail comes to a stop at the Capitol Hill station. Watch as that suspect grips the bottle, then approaches the victim and slams it into her face. The victim was stunned, but fortunately did not have serious injuries. But because of the violent and unprovoked nature of the attack on a stranger, detectives are concerned for the safety of the public until that woman is identified and arrested. She's described as approximately 5 feet 7 inches tall with brown hair, wearing a gray full zip hoodie, black shirt, black pants, white sneakers, and white headphones. Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound is offering a cash reward of up to $1,000 for any information that leads to her arrest. If you know that suspect's name or where detectives can find her, call 1-800-222-TIPS or text the information through the P3 Tips app on your cell phone. You will remain anonymous. And while that attack happened in the middle of the day, the night brings out the shooters who could care less who they hit, even women and children asleep in their beds. Early Thursday morning, a 10-year-old girl was shot as she slept in a Skyway apartment. Several buildings in the Creston Point apartments riddled by bullets. No word yet on a suspect description. That shooting just 24 hours after terrifying gunfire caught on a security camera as a group of shooters unload on an apartment while everyone was inside sleeping. A mom in bed with her child shot through both of her legs. Her toddler, amazingly, was not hurt. This happened in the middle of the night in West Seattle. There would have been no way for them to know danger was right outside the window. The Spotlight's Jennifer Dowling spoke with neighbors about what happened.
Round after round of rapid gunfire caught on security cameras, shattering windows and splintering walls as a group of gunmen brazenly stood outside this apartment complex, unloading their weapons from a grassy courtyard. Police say it was a targeted shooting. A neighbor who asked that their voice be disguised told us they heard the shots ringing out.
I was asleep. It was around 2 a.m. And I just heard multiple rounds of gunshots. I just thought I was dreaming in the moment, and then I just kind of waited for the sirens to come, and then I just fell back asleep.
Video also showed the eerie moments before the shooting as the group crept up to the apartment in order to get into place before opening fire. Investigators say a woman sleeping inside was shot twice in the leg after bullets pierced her bedroom wall. The rounds barely missing her child, who was sleeping in the same bed. This neighbor says she's seen the victim in passing around the apartment complex before.
I feel sad because this neighborhood is very safe, so I'm not sure what happened, but hopefully she's doing okay.
It's a little scary. It's too close to home.
This other neighbor, who didn't want to be fully identified, said it may be time to move.
I have a 14-year-old daughter here, and with the homeless over there, I can't even let her go out at night.
Police say the officers provided medical aid to the injured mom until Seattle Fire arrived to take her to the hospital.
I hope there's a fast recovery for the woman who got shot, and yeah, it's just we need more police. We need more police around.
Many hope the city puts a stop to the violence before things get worse.
It's very dangerous, and I think we don't have enough police force. And it's scary to even go out of the car, even around this time of the night.
Well, that woman was taken to Harborview Medical Center and was stable at last check. You heard from that Seattleite calling for more police. It's something Mayor Bruce Harrell and the City Council are working on. He recently signed a bill into law streamlining the recruitment process. Council members say this new bill will remove roadblocks to hire more officers by creating a new recruitment and retention program, creating flexibility for people applying for entry-level or lateral officer positions, and adding a position to contact candidates within 48 hours of applying. Seattle police officers also have a new union contract with the city, raising their starting pay from $83,000 to $103,000. They will also be paid retroactively for the last 3 years. On average, each officer will receive almost $60,000. That is welcome news for many, many officers who've been working overtime because hundreds of others have left the department. There's another reason that new recruitment and retention program is so vital. It's possible that after the officers get their retroactive pay when the checks are cut in July, some or even many may choose to retire or leave. They couldn't leave before the union contract was signed, or they wouldn't get the back pay and the boost to their retirement. Now, we won't know how many will leave until they actually file the paperwork, but definitely puts an even greater sense of urgency on hiring new officers. Well, gunshots from a nearby shooting pierced the air during a baseball game with kids ages 9 to 16 on Sunday, sending the players and the crowd running for cover. And it was all caught on camera. Well, video from the game's live stream shows the moment when the players and the crowd realized what was happening and started running. The shooting happened at Isaac Evans Park, right across the river from Brannan Park, where the baseball game was happening. Auburn police say at least one person started shooting after some type of disagreement between two groups. 2 people were hurt in that shooting. They're expected to be okay, but police are still searching for whoever was responsible. A judge dropped the bail amount for the man accused of killing Trooper Christopher Gadd on I-5 back in March. Attorneys for Raul Benitez Santana and his family asked the Snohomish County Superior Court Judge Richard Okrent to release him for jail. They say he's not a risk to commit other crimes and that he would appear at his court hearings. The Everett Herald reports Gadd's widow objected to his release. Court documents say Benitez Santana admitted to drinking and smoking pot before causing the crash that ended Gadd's life on March 2nd. He's also in the country illegally. Judge Okrent reduced Benitez Santana's bail from $1 million to $100,000. Benitez tonight is still in jail. Well, Seattle police say 2 homeless men killed with an axe in the First Hill neighborhood were murdered by the same suspect. 25-year-old Liam Krieger is in jail, but the connections between the 2 murders was only recently made. Both victims were attacked while sleeping outdoors. According to the court documents, Krieger scouted the areas before the attacks. On February 10th, the first victim sustained traumatic injuries to his face and skull. And on the 22nd, a second victim was found with a deep head wound. Krieger is being held without bail. Well, mom and pop shops in Tacoma forced to pick up the physical pieces of their businesses after a woman was caught on camera with a hammer, going on a rampage. She smashed through dozens of storefront windows, causing thousands and thousands of dollars in damage.
A woman experiencing some type of episode is caught on camera wreaking havoc up and down Broadway early Saturday morning.
She's walking basically this fast on every picture window, with a hammer.
That sound echoing up and down Broadway in Tacoma around 3 a.m. The woman is accused of vandalizing 16 businesses. Her hammer hitting dozens of windows, including a few at Sanford & Sons Antiques.
There's 45 of them that I could count on this street here, including my 7.
Thank you.
Peppermint Tuna was also hit.
I didn't think it was that many.
The clothing store's owner says 3 of her glass windows, including her glass door, was smashed. She says it's not a pretty look when you're trying to do business.
Pretty sad. So, you know, everybody's pretty not feeling so great. We're all small independent owners that can barely make it most days.
The price tag of the damage is still being calculated. The owner of Big Dog Barbershop says when you're talking historic buildings and large window panes, repairs won't be cheap.
We put a lot of time and effort into our businesses, and it just becomes very sad to see other people in our community vandalize and destruct everything that we work for.
To brighten it up a little bit and make it a little bit more inviting.
Over at Cremello Cafe, the owners are painting colorful murals over plywood that covers broken glass.
Just make it a little bit happier.
They closed for the day, working to enhance curb appeal that took one woman just minutes to destroy.
This is a business where we welcome a lot of families, and we have children that are playing around, and so we just want to ensure everybody's safety by cleaning the space thoroughly.
The suspect was arrested and charged and then ordered to have a competency evaluation. Meantime, Tacoma police are looking for a violent burglary suspect. Here's a good look at his face. Officers say he tried to burglarize a home on May 12th, ended up in a fight with the homeowner. The homeowner is badly injured and almost lost his eye. He has staples and stitches from his forehead down to his eye, nose, and cheek. This suspect took off in a newer 4-door gray sedan, possibly a Kia or a Hyundai. believed to be in his late 20s or early 30s, with a thin build and dark wavy hair. So look closely at that face. If you know who he is, submit a tip right now to Crime Stoppers of Tacoma Pierce County by calling 1-800-222-TIPS. Tonight, a mom and her children in Tacoma are desperately looking for a little Bichon Poodle mix, a little sweet dog lovingly called Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea went missing more than a month ago. She didn't just go missing, she was stolen. Spotlight's Nia Wong spoke with the family who believes that puppy was dog-napped from their yard.
You coming down, girl? Come on, CP.
The newest addition to the Quiles family slid into their hearts last summer as a birthday gift for 6-year-old Solomon Quiles.
His entire birthday was around Sweet Pea.
Aaliyah Quiles says the entire family fell in love with the 15-pound puppy.
She's got like apricot curly fur, and then she's got little white-tipped feet.
But Quiles says the last time she saw her Bichon Poodle mix was in her backyard on April 16th.
I've been to the Humane Society multiple times. Nothing's been reported on her chip, so it's like she vanished.
These days, the only place to see Sweet Pea's sweet face is on flyers posted in the very spot where Quiles says a mailman witnessed the alleged dog napping.
He told me, that he had seen this white vehicle come down the 45th here, stop in the intersection, scoop up Sweet Pea, and then drive down East F Street.
The Tacoma mother says she's filed a police report, reached out to online communities for missing pets, and has gone door to door, but feels like she is grasping at straws.
And it's just been heartbreaking to witness this, in our local community, and that somebody would actually do something like this.
Other than where Sweet Pea was allegedly abducted, Quiles says the only other tip they're working with was what she was seen in.
That it was a white SUV, like crossover.
The Quiles family hopes the community will keep an eye out for Sweet Pea and for whoever took her.
I just hope that they have a change of heart. They take that reward money and we get Sweet Pea back.
Well, now take a look at the surveillance video of the vehicle that the mailman saw, the guy who stole Sweet Pea. Even when you zoom in, you can't make out a lot of detail, and the camera did not catch a license plate number. But if you have any information to help Tacoma police identify the suspect, or especially to find Sweet Pea, call 911 right away. Tonight, the search is on for a sunburned suspect accused of sexual assault. The warning, the details of this case are sickening. Take a look at this photo from Tukwila Police. You can clearly see that man's sunburn. Officers were called out last week to a store on Strander Boulevard after workers reported he was touching himself and inappropriately watching young girls. Detectives say he approached the girls and then he threw what described as bodily fluid on them before running out of the store and taking off. If you know who this creep is, please call Tukwila Police. Dozens of roosters set for a new home in Pierce County. Instead, gunned down by Yakima County Sheriff's deputies. The worst part, the Spotlight's investigative team found out those deputies were aware that there were plans to rescue the roosters. The Sheriff's Office out of Yakima County defending their actions, but the story doesn't end there. As Matthew Smith dug into more, he began to learn just how deep this world of cockfighting goes. Despite a ban in all 50 states, experts believe at any given time there are no less than 1,000 fighting birds right here in Washington state.
It's really violent. People don't understand how violent it is.
It's a vicious blood sport.
The whole bird's job is to kill that other bird.
And it's outlawed in all 50 states.
I've seen it, and it's a little disturbing.
This man is one of the undercover investigators with the Washington State Gambling Commission working to break up cockfighting rings.
There's more that goes on than people actually know about.
Earlier this year, a years-long investigation came to light. Drugs, guns, attempts to kill witnesses, and at the center of it all, hundreds of roosters, part of a cockfighting ring that led to 34 arrests across the U.S. Earlier this week, we introduced you to Kate, the woman behind Heartwood Haven, the Pierce County nonprofit trying to save roosters forced into a grueling world of cockfighting.
When I hold them, or when other people hold them, what they tell me is that he's shaking. They're scared. These roosters are not human aggressive.
Few roosters are rescued in our state. Many are put down due to drugs in their systems, injuries, or perhaps the most sad case, there isn't enough space. Kate is trying to change that.
Let's see if we can fit all these.
Sadly, the fights never really stop.
We need the community's help.
It sounds like cockfighting is taking place all over the state.
It is, and all over the country. The gatherings are mainly in rural areas, but you could have people in your neighborhood that are raising fighting birds.
There's telltale signs. Typically, birds are dubbed. Take a look at this stock image of a rooster. Now compare it to a bird from a recent bust. Notice how the altered or dubbed bird for fighting is missing its comb, wattle, and parts of its earlobes. The cruel goal? To leave less skin that can be ripped or torn by an opposing bird.
These right here are considered your short knives.
As Sam Moore, founder of the Washington State Animal Fighting Task Force, shows us, these birds don't fight like this on their own. And parts of their leg bone are cut, then physical knives are attached to their feet so they can stab one another. Fighters will say they have pride in their birds, but it's rather sick how disposable they are in the end.
They have pride in the birds because the birds are their money. And that's what their pride is. They deal with a lot of pain and suffering during and after these fights. Some of them get thrown aside and they may not be completely deceased when they get thrown aside.
Adding to the reality that even those rescued through investigations aren't rescued. As seen here, they're regularly put down. Which is why any hopeful story is a welcome sign. Though the reality is the dark underbelly of cockfighting is never far from anyone, regardless of where you live.
It's not exclusive to one area. Everybody is capable of participating in animal fighting.
From backyard novices to people who attend the fights, Sam estimates that at any given time there's hundreds of active fighting cocks in our state, including right now.
Some of the ones that have kind of come across through the task force, and easily I'm almost at 1,000.
But busts take time, energy.
That's the frustrating part, is that we have to make sure everything that we do is done correctly, and sometimes that takes a while.
Investigators say it's not unusual for multiple investigations focused on cockfighting to be underway at the same time. In fact, a number of people began calling in tips after our initial reporting. Notorious serial killer Robert Pickton is in a coma and clinging to life after he was attacked in a Canadian prison. The 74-year-old is serving life there. Pickton was charged with the murders of 26 women, and in 2007, he was convicted of killing 6 of them. In total, the remains and DNA of 33 women were found at Pickton's pig farm near Vancouver, BC, and many of those women were Indigenous. Investigators say another inmate attacked Pickton with a broken broom handle last weekend, shoving it through his head. Doctors don't expect Pickton to survive. What happened to Barbara McClure? That's a question her loved ones have been asking since she disappeared in 1978. It's a question that's top of mind for her daughter every single day. Spotlight Shira Matsuzawa gives us a look at the renewed effort to find answers surrounding Barbara's disappearance and her daughter's decades-long fight to get justice.
It's been 45 years since Jamie Stupi has seen her mom, Barbara McClure. 45 years of missed moments and memories. 45 years. She's been left with questions.
I have always had a vision of her knocking on my door for some odd reason and me not having a word to say because I don't know what you say.
Barbara was last seen walking home from the Fandango Disco on November 2nd, 1978. 9 days later, Barbara's driver's license was found near the intersection of I-5 and I-405. Jamie was just 2 years old when her mom disappeared.
Oh my goodness. My mom was pretty goofy. You get lucky enough to find one of the goofy ones.
Looking at photos of her mom, Jamie says she strongly believes she'll find the answers she's looking for. But the clock is ticking.
It's been 45 years. So the detective at the time has passed. My grandparents are passed. Some of these people I'm talking to are almost 90.
Last week, this billboard with the words, "What happened to Barbara McClure," went up in Edmonds. And every piece of information is important.
But I do believe she deserves justice, and I believe I deserve answers. And I believe that little 2-year-old who was left in that crib that night with a mom who didn't come home deserves for people to come forward and tell what they know.
As a mom now herself, Jamie says not knowing what happened to her own mom has heavily impacted her. And until a few years ago, It made holidays like Mother's Day hard. But she's blessed and now looks at it differently.
But I think about that mom who lost time. She lost time, and she didn't deserve that. And she deserves people to look for her. She deserved to raise that little girl that needed her.
Well, this week they started a new GoFundMe to help fund some investigative efforts. We put a link to it in our web story at fox13seattle.com. 2 notorious serial killers have already been ruled out as suspects in Barbara's disappearance. Gary Ridgway, the Green River killer, didn't murder his first victim until 1982. Barbara disappeared in 1978. On the day she vanished, Ted Bundy was already in jail in Florida. A strange case of roadside assistance for a mermaid who recently had her RV stolen. That RV belongs to Olive Teague, the founder of the Seattle Mermaid School. It was stolen out of Ballard months ago before police helped them get it back. But when they needed help starting the vehicle in Aberdeen, there was an interesting twist. That's because the man who's accused of stealing it in the first place was asked to help get it going again.
You gotta get in that little slot. Okay.
There was my friend in the driver's seat and a full county jail jumpsuit person in the passenger seat. I was shocked.
Since the original theft of the RV, Olive and fellow mermaids set up a GoFundMe. We put that link on our website. And that's going to do it for us tonight on The Spotlight. Until next time, do everything you can to stay safe. I'm David Rose.